So one of the more common things that we have to address in pediatrics is our allergies and eczema. We see tons of this. Kids coming in all the time with eczematous rashes, allergic rhinitis, really struggling with the symptoms related to allergies. It can be disabling for some of them. They can't get to school, they're constantly scratching, they're bleeding from the rash. And we're always trying to figure out, well, what's the cause? So we go to look for the trigger. We see, is it a food? Is it a pollen? Is it dust mite? Is there something out there that's actually triggering this? And sometimes we can find it and we can remove it and things get better. But other times it's impossible to remove it. You can't get rid of all the pollen that's out there, and you can't get rid of some of the various things that are in our diets that we just can't quite identify as the absolute trigger for all of it. So when I look at it from an integrative standpoint, I look at trying to remove whatever the trigger is, but I also look at, well, what can I do to improve immune response and also to decrease the inflammatory response? The immune response has been closely linked to the gut, and so very often we're looking at food, we're looking at probiotics, we're looking at things to actually improve immune response to decrease the allergic reactions. The other thing we want to do is we want to knock down the mast cell response. The mast cells are frequently part of these allergic reactions, and so using various therapies to affect the mast cells is important. So whether we're trying to use an antihistamine type supplement or herb, or whether we're using probiotics to help with the gut to improve the gut response and the gut immune response, or whether we're using a topical lotion of some sort that has an anti-inflammatory nature for the eczema. There's many different approaches that we have, but we really look at this in a sort of multifaceted way, improving immune response, lowering the inflammatory response, and helping the overall symptoms to improve. From an integrative standpoint, one of the more difficult things with the mast cell is how do we impact it? There are certain herbs or supplements that may have an impact on the mast cell, but we don't really have a lot of products out there that really work with this. The other thing to do is try and hit this upstream. How do we inhibit the mast cell from the upstream standpoint so the mast cell is stabilized and therefore doesn't ultimately have a reaction that causes a lot of these allergic type reactions? And there's a quail egg protein that actually has a tryptase inhibitor that helps to positively stabilize mast cells. And that can significantly, therefore, have an impact on the allergic symptoms.